Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all doing well. And today, my friends, are back with a showdown between the Empire and the High Elves. It's going to be Toddy facing off against Teclis. Teclis coming in with the big Arcane Phoenix. And Toddy, of course, is going to be coming in with the Sunmaker, which is one of the big staples of the Empire. Now, this has always been a pretty fun matchup. In land battles, I always found it to be really even, really back and forth. And even though the High Elves are probably the weaker overall faction in domination mode, I would say that the matchup against the Empire is a relatively even one. They both have a lot of tools that trade pretty well into each other. It's very fun, very much a game of cat and mouse, and I think it's one of the most fun matchups to play for the Sons of Sigmar and from the High Elf perspective as well. Now, as far as my build goes, it's going to be a front line of swordsmen, including Sigmar Sons, I think. Do we bring them? No, just basic swordsmen with halberdiers in the secondary row. Figuring there might be some silver helms or dragon princes. I wanted to bring some halberds to kind of get up behind the state troopers and make sure they don't just get shreked and run over. Boris Todbringer, as well as the war wagons. War wagons are great because, you know, if your opponent's going to be having archers or Sisters of Avalorn, they're going to be able to kill your pistoliers and outriders very effectively. So I like to use war wagons. They're a little bit tougher to snipe. They're more durable against cav charges from silver helms, from reavers. High Elves actually have a fairly good cav core. So I think that the war wagons are quite good there, and they're also very good at shooting like single entity models. That's pretty much it for my starting army, and we are going to be summoning in the Silver Bullets to help deal with some of the big SEM targets. And now for the Elves, it's going to be the dreaded Arcane Phoenix with Tyrannoc Chariots in the bushes. Double Bolt Thrower is very, very nice on this map. The Bolt Throwers are going to be able to get just some massive value into the War Wagons here. You can see they're kind of eyeing those things from downtown. War Wagons already taking some pretty serious damage for sure. And Teclis is going to be the choice. Teclis is a great utility lord. Now, if you're going to be playing like High Elf, kind of big gooning cheese squads, he's not really the best choice. Larry is the best for that. But if you're going to be playing more dynamic, open field battle control using artillery and shooting pieces and sisters, having the nets and having the regrowth is a really, really powerful combination. Elves also up on the high ground with triple archers as well as some dragon princes, going to be controlling the high ground objective. Meanwhile, the Empire, my forces do have a little bit of a stranglehold here on the low ground. Now the bird's coming after Boris. I didn't want to take the fight. Arcane Phoenixes are pretty damn strong. I just wanted to kind of pull back to my wagons and try and get my silver bullets in range to put some hurt on the Phoenix. And the Phoenix actually uses its little flamestorm here and does some decent damage against the state troopers. You can see it actually does, wow, almost at 2,000 damage. Jeez, that was really good. Oh my goodness. High Elf players, if you're watching, take notes. Apparently this thing is pretty good. Here in the back, we do get these silver bullets shooting in. We're able to put some hurt on the bird, so we do return the favor a little bit. Halberdiers are kind of on the standby to try and deal with Tyrannoc Chariots. And the Sunmaker is putting some heavy damage here on the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower with its superior range. 480 against 380. 100 more range is a pretty big deal for sure. Now up in the high ground, can't really do anything about this. The Elves have a pretty good stranglehold on this, and they also have a very good angle. They can park their archers like right on this little slope, and if they park them like right here, I shouldn't be able to hit them with the Sunmaker, and they can still reach some of my state troopers on the low ground. Now Toddy's going to be coming for some freebies here. He's going to be looking at this bolt thrower, and here comes the old power mustache. Going to be landing down here trying to break this, but Sisters of Avalorn have been summoned in. Now if you guys are High Elf players in domination mode, maybe you're struggling a little bit, I do think that the High Elves have some teeth, and I think that Sisters of Avalorn are one of their biggest staples. Now this is a nice play. Toddy does get caught in a net of Amatok, and now he's going to be getting blasted by the Sisters, and that's going to be some good armor-piercing DPS. Bolt Thrower is still raining some heavy fire, but we do have the two objectives in the middle. The High Elves, of course, have the high ground objective. Can't really do much about that quite yet, but hopefully in due time we will be able to. Now Teclis rolling about. He does get popped by the wagons a little bit. Silver bullets kind of creep up. I was trying to get them close up to the Tyrannoc Chariots to put a little bit hurt on them. And the Sunmaker is still just kind of dropping big old payloads here on the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower. Probably should have gone after the Rangers, but I really wanted to get rid of the Bolt Throwers to kind of free up my wagons, which have been very good on the harass so far. Now, it looks like there's going to be a regrowth coming down to the Arcane Phoenix. Nice, beautiful downhill charge here from the big Dragon Princes. That's going to be a huge punishing charge. Obviously, state troopers have low armor. It was a downhill charge. There's just a lot of things that's not going great for him. Some of the halberds, of course, are moving in, and the halberds will be able to drag down some of these Dragon Princes pretty effectively. They do get forced back. Now the Prince is going to be diving into my backfield. Now in response, I do summon in Demogryph Knights with halberds, which will trade very, very well into the Dragon Princes. And here the High Elf player does know that, and he's going to be retreating with the Princes probably back up the hill. Meanwhile, the Phoenix is going to be trying to shut down my silver bullets, and has been doing a pretty good job of doing it so far, so he does move there. And the Elves are really, really looking to kind of move out of the bushes, although the Dragon Princes here did get beat up by Toddy. Toddy and the halberds were able to drag down a fair amount of models, but halberds really do terribly against missile fire. But I do have the Sunmaker. Sunmaker is going to be able to kind of aim up, and you can see these archers have exposed themselves a little bit. There's a direct line of sight, so I should be able to kind of get some nice barrages. Here comes a big one for Sigmar, baby. And it looks like some of those guys do get pounded. Not too bad, but all it takes is, one or two Sunmaker shots to really, really do some good damage. But The last very good archer play, my halberds are still paying the troll toll. Over here, a little bit of a skirmish. The Demogryph Knights did get caught in a net from Teclis, which is very, very long. They're trapped for another 13 seconds. And I'm using my Haggard War Wagons. Talk about the Duel of Fates, ladies and gentlemen. The War Wagons are going to be hunting down the Tyrannoc chariots and shooting while they go. And yeah, the War Wagons are certainly favored there. They're going to be out trading those chariots pretty effectively due to their good shooting. Now here we got Swordsmen versus Rangers. Rangers will decisively win that fight. They cost, 200 more. They have a bonus versus infantry and physical resist, so Rangers going to be very happy with that. Demogryph Knights in the meantime going to be getting a charge and probably breaking these chariots at the very least, so we probably get them there at 2 leadership. I don't know what's going on with these demis. Was there a model over there? Do you see that? That was a really weird charge, but I think the chariot is broken at least. So that's been shut down. Now, needing some heavy cav to deal with this, I do summon in Empire Knights. Empire Knights going to be ramming into the front line, getting some great work done against the Rangers. And for the Elves, a little bit kind of pinned back. They do have their Sisters of Avalorn, which if those things get online and start shooting properly, I'm going to be in a little bit of danger. Toddy here, fighting amongst the Dragon Princes, but it looks like there's going to be some sort of witchcraft going down. Is it a Dwellers Below? I think it is. So I do pop the Dwellers Below myself, and unfortunately my opponent dodges it. He was paying attention, and oh my god, huge shot. So right there, man, Toddy gets melted by those Sisters of Avalorn. You can see if you forget about them for even 1 second, you really can pay the price. Up in the high ground here, I do get the grenade launchers of Sigmar, and the Sigmar Sons move in to screen out these archers. Grenade launchers are an excellent counter against what the Elves bring here. We're able to push back these Swordmasters of Hoeth, and we see archers coming in to counter them, which is a very, very good choice. But for now, the Sons of Sigmar, my forces, should be able to kind of wrestle that objective. Meanwhile, the High Elves doing very well on this side. We see the Rangers decisively defeat my swordsmen here, taking a little bit of damage, but not too much. And then they should be able to cut through the halberds. So a really cost-effective 2-for-1 for the High Elves here. Empire Knights battling the big blob here. My Demogryph Knights, I probably should have pulled them back here to go after the Princes and the Arcane Phoenix, but I saw that the Sisters of Avalorn looked a little bit undefended, so I was like, let's go back here and try and run down some of these lead archers, because, man, they have just been giving me the dirty all game. These things have been a big, big problem. So those Sisters of Avalorn getting run down. Teclis also getting involved. He could be taking a little bit of damage, but overall ended up being probably the right decision. We are taking bolt thrower fire, but the Sisters are shut down, and if they were able to kind of shoot, it would be very problematic, although these damn Dragon Princes have been really, really a big problem here. Sunmaker shooting across, able to kind of do some work on the Rangers. My forces on the low ground looking very beleaguered right now. I do have my demis kind of overextended into enemy territory, but still trading well. Rangers going to be taking this objective here, so High Elves doing very, very well in many regards. And this Arcane Phoenix has been a big problem. I do summon in some Free Company Militia to get some shots into its lower armor, but the Phoenix probably just going to be able to get in there and shut those guys down. So that was a mistake for sure. Here we do have our Sigmar Sons, and we have the Death Jacks. Death Jacks are one of my favorite Empire units. I think these guys are amazing. They have stock and snipe, so they cost less than Huntsmen. They can sneak up on people, and they're pretty good at kind of picking off enemy, low armor assets. And again, Vanguard deployment is a huge asset for pretty much every faction here. So we're shooting into the enemy archers, getting some good damage. Sigmar Sun's going to be pushing up, should be able to handle these units. And my grenade launchers did move down to the low ground. I saw that I was losing the fight down here, and I really wanted to hold on to the middle objective. So trying to get those grenade launchers across the map to move and take out these Rangers and maybe give me an opportunity to get back on that point. So the Sisters of Avalorn kind of kicked my Demogryph Knights' butts. I didn't expect them to do that badly. Granted, they are a halberd unit, so I guess I should have seen that coming. Here, the Sunmaker is still online somehow, and we do get some Empire Knights to surround the Arcane Phoenix. Arcane Phoenix's healing capped, it got regrowth, and it did also get one of its rebirth effects. So that bad boy is going to be really, really getting a ton of value here. Meanwhile, the Empire Knight's going to be surging in to go after the Rangers, so going to be trying to get a charge there. Outriders with grenade launchers will be buttering some bread for sure. So you can see these poor Rangers get nuked a little bit. But here they come, Empire Knights, couching the lances. Here it comes, baby. Big charge, and that is going to be punishing those Rangers off the objective. Most likely their leadership's going to be very, very low, and 110 armor is going to be too much for them to handle. So going to be trying to snake this objective back with the Empire Knights and the grenade launchers and the Demogryph Knights, who are still alive, but obviously very, very beat up. And up on the high ground, we have a very scrappy fight. Unfortunately, the Swordmasters of Hoeth have made it in, and at this point, I just turn and fight. Swordmasters of Hoeth will absolutely dominate. They're one of the best, if they're not being focused by magic and armor-piercing missiles, or, like chariot-type units, they're one of the best, infantry to infantry fighting units in the entire game. And the Sigmar Sons, though they are very dedicated to the cause, they are not going to trade well. And the Swordmasters of Hoeth are just going to cut them apart, and it is going to be brutal. We get some Free Company Militia, just desperately trying to hold on to this point, really. Looking here, we can see my points are 847 to 321, so I have a pretty big point lead, but the High Elves are certainly threatening a double cap. The value trading is actually very even. Both of us were within 500 points of each other almost the entire game. Dwellers Below going down here, and that is going to be doing a ton of damage to the Sisters of Avalorn. You can see big, big HP loss, and hopefully it will be able to drag them down. We'll have to see. Yeah, they're getting beat up pretty good, but not before they do deal with my Empire Knights. And the other Sisters are just so good. I mean, they're trading so well. I forgot to put my caster on a mount in this game, so he's been running around on foot. It's been a little bit of a problem, but for the most part, he's been here and he's been able to reach everything. But typically, if you guys were in my situation wondering why he's on foot, it was an accident. I just forgot to put him on a mount. You should put him on a mount regardless of the circumstances. Now, using my grenade launchers to kind of sit on the edge of the objective and capture it, we do get more Empire Knights coming in, trying to get on the Sisters. But the Arcane Phoenix, once again, coming in with 833 value, looking to kind of try and pay for itself despite its very beat up status. But look at the DPS these Sisters have on the high armor, man. It is just so cost effective. Swordmaster's putting an absolute beat down on my Sigmar Sons. Here in the back, Teclis also comes in and routes my Death Jack, so a lot of things going well for the High Elves, and honestly, the momentum of the battle is starting to shift a little bit. The High Elves are starting to push me back, getting multiple good engagements. So we see a good engagement up on the high ground here as the High Elves do push the Death Jacks, and Sigmar Sons get eviscerated by the Swordmasters. Down on the low ground, it's a little bit scrappier. I still have my grenade launchers and demis. I have Silver Bullets coming in the back with Free Company Militia, and the Sunmaker is back for round 2. So this is kind of my momentum swing tool here, because I could feel it. I could feel it in the air, the struggle that was going down, and I was like, okay, I need to make something happen here. Zintler's Reichsguard going to be getting an uphill charge, not going to be great. Looks like a net's going to be coming down, but thankfully they do get on top of the archers at the very least. Swordmasters of Hoth going to be getting a downhill charge on them, and even though they don't have like super high armor piercing, I guess, weapon strength overall, I guess 36 is pretty good. 48 melee attack and a downhill charge is going to mean some Zintler's Reichsguard are going to be going down here. But the Sunmaker is going to start bombarding in and going after the Sisters of Avalorn, so I like that my opponent didn't bring Sisters in right away when the Sunmaker was, you know, full ammo, fully protected. Like, he brought them in as a secondary unit, which I think is a really, really good lesson to be learned here from this game. But still a full health unit of Dragon Princes. We got some Spearmen moving in, and the Sunmaker is trying to accrue some value where it can. The Zentler's Reichsguard are going to be retreating, so we had to get away from the Swordmasters and that kind of nasty position here. Death Jacks continue to be hunted, but it looks like these Sisters of Avalorn are going to be routed there by the bombardments and trying to get away from these Dragon Princes. Zentler's Reichsguard are pretty similar to Dragon Princes. Dragon Princes, of course, just have better stats across the board. They would win objectively in a fight. But Zentler's Reichsguard, of course, what advantages they have? 120 to 110. They have more armor. And it looks like, yeah, honestly, Dragon Princes just seem like the stronger unit overall. But Zentler's Reichsguard do have Vanguard deployment, which I think is kind of one of the big gimmicks of those guys. The Demograph Knights still on reserve. Going to be pulling those guys in a second. I did kind of forget about them a little bit, but they will be moving in to help deal with these Dragon Princes here, so you do see them activated. And the Spearmen going to be getting shelled by the Sunmaker. So High Elves are catching up on points. We do have that one cap in the corner, which has been very nice. Grenade launchers pushing back the Spearmen, preventing the cap there. And the old Dragon Prince is going to be maneuvering back here, probably looking to get on top of the artillery. Maybe no. It looks like they're going to be just engaging against demis and continuing to play that fight. Swordsmen and Zentler's Reichsguard going to be charging back in for round 2, baby. Super scrappy fight. This has been an amazing game so far. The Reichsguard Knights getting a nice charge, and Dragon Princes are shaken and stirred, and the Sunmaker is clearing out the infantry slowly. I was thinking about maybe plays in the high ground. Is there anything I can do? But he was pretty entrenched up here with Swordmasters and Archers. So I was like, all right, we got to play the low ground and just start value trading again. But the High Elves are catching up, and you know, even though the points can really they can add up, man. It can get there quicker than you think, even with the new long game mode. Trying to finish off that damn Arcane Phoenix. This thing has been an unholy scourge the entire game. It has 700. It's been, of course, debuffing and, well, not debuffing, but pounding my nearby units. It's not the Crosshair Phoenix. Another Empire Knight's going to be surging into the middle. A lot of really, like, beat-up High Elf units around the battlefield. You'll notice that. As everything is kind of tattered, right? We got some Swordmasters low here, some Spearmen low, Silver Bullets moving up, and that damn Pigeon is still battling my Reichsguard Knights. Hopefully they'll be able to kind of finish that thing off, as the other Empire Knights do hammer into some of the spears. Not the best situation, but I didn't want to let them reform ranks with their main battle line, so I was like, let's hit the spears. Maybe we can get a lucky break on them. We will have to see, ladies and gentlemen. Sunmaker coming in, doing some friendly fire damage. A Haggard Tyrannoch Chariot in the back. This is pretty funny. So there's a Tyrannoch Chariot that routed like to the side of the map, and both of us forgot about it. And then it just like, he's like, oh shit, here it is. And it comes back in. But thankfully I do have some brave State Troopers back here with their spears. So I think that the State Troopers should be able to drag down the chariots. We'll have to see. These horses do have some ferocious bites in the front. They have taken notes from Volkmar's horses. I love the horse biting animations. It's so Haggard. But nonetheless, the Tyrannoch Chariot's going to be going down. Sunmaker should be back online, and we will be A-okay. Spearmen wavering, couple Zentler's Reichsguard, having been very beaten up by the Arcane Phoenix, going to be trying to make it in, but the Sisters, the very beat up ones that I did focus earlier, still came back, and man, they're still just generating value. This is very cost effective for me though. The Silver Bullets are just buttering the bread here of the Swordmasters of Hoth, getting a lot of shots in there, and I did see the maneuvering play coming in from the Princes in the high ground, so I get my Empire Knights around, and they're going to be coming in to shock charge into the Dragon Princes, who, have they actually earned those chevrons? Wow, 2,000 value on Dragon Princes! But the Empire Knights of Sigmar coming in as well, and we do get the counter charge, and even though the Dragon Princes are a little bit stronger, we get the charge on them, and the Dragon Princes are very low, and just numbers are still numbers, and the Silver Bullets should be able to get back, but the Tattered Spearmen have been a little bit problematic to finish off. You know, I'm having to try and fight them with heavy cav, which of course isn't great, But High Elves are looking just almost empty on the low ground, although another unit of Sisters coming in is a super good play. These things have been very disrupted this entire game, and you know, I could move State Troopers up, but I feel like it's going to be taking a little bit too long. He does have the 2 cap on me here, but at this point he would win with the 2 cap. You know, I have a pretty good point lead, but he would actually win at this point, so I do need to get a triple cap. As such, you can see up on the high ground, we do see some swordsmen coming in, so double swordsmen against archers felt cost effective. These archers, of course, are being taken out by the State Troopers, and I should be able to kind of potentially resecure this objective, although a great counterplay from my opponent. Rangers of the High Elves are going to be coming in, and we all know how badly Rangers annihilate swordsmen, so I'm like, all right, screw this shit. I'm going to run away with this swordsman unit here in a second. The other swordsman is going to be chasing these archers into the low ground. Now over here, Teclis and company coming over this objective, and the brave Jade Wizard Radagast is the green here, trying to hold it, but I'm pretty much out of Winds of Magic. I've used Regrowths, I've used Dwellers, Earthbloods, I should say. And yeah, we're just kind of in the pits, because man, a Dweller's Blow would have been so good here. Now, as far as the objectives go, I'm going to be getting triple capped right now. So this is very, very scary, guys. Sunmaker coming in, though, accruing huge, huge value, really pounding into those Sisters of Avalorn. You can use Sunmaker also against Elves. Some of the builds I found in Domination that work well against High Elves are like triple or quad mortar even. So like Sunmaker costs 1,800. You could bring 3 mortars for that same cost. And they don't do as much like shock damage overall, but over the course of a long grindy game, they can generate really good value for you. So those type of artillery in general are quite good. Bolt throwers, if this were a smaller map though, you wouldn't want to bring the Sunmaker, because the Sunmaker would just get hard countered by like bolt throwers and things like that, and you would have a very, very bad time. So you really can only get away with Sunmaker on maps like Arnheim and Black Ark in my experience. Now the Empire Big Cav Corps is going to be coming in. We should be able to kind of capture the side objective, but again, I'm ahead on points, but it's getting really, really close. I'm at 1246, he's at 1200, so he's only 40 points behind me now, which is going to be closing the gap very, very quickly, but we do get a big Sigmarite charge into the Sisters of Avalorn, so they're going to get absolutely plowed here, and we should be able to take this side objective, which is going to be feeling very, very good. Big Arcane Phoenix coming back for round 2, baby. Teclis being focus fired by these silver bullets. They do get caught in a net, but that felt really good getting Teclis down. Meanwhile, the swordsman up on the high ground generating some decent value. We shoot into the archers here, and yeah, Teclis might break. He's at 15 leadership. Those silver bullets certainly showing no mercy. And we get this objective here. The capture is going in our favor. Up on the high ground, grenade launchers, the classic rock, paper, scissors. His rangers counter my swordsman. My grenade launchers counter his rangers. His archers counter my grenade launchers. It's very much a game of rock, paper, scissors and kind of timing these things, right? But the grenade launcher is able to kind of clean those guys off the objective. So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be coming back with a double cap now. It's on, but he is very close to winning. And honestly, I don't know if I'm doing it fast enough. He might be in a position where he can win on a single cap, which is going to be very, very stressful to say the least. So I'm going to have to push for just a balls deep, all out push on the second objective. So cavalry are getting in there, Empire Knights are moving in a way that you can calculate it now that it's increments of 1. So if you have one objective, you know, each point is 1 second, right? So in order for my opponent here, Aerocrastic, to win, he needs to hold the objective for, you know, about 100 seconds, give or take, right? So you can do the math like that. And then if you have 2 objectives, you could just have that essentially, and that's how you're going to be doing. Empire Knights moving in. We get into the archers. Demogryph Knights with halberds coming in as well, guys. He's at 1,400 points, and you can see I was just behind the amount I needed. It's at 1,306 to 1,408. It's so incredibly close, but I do get the capture weight on the middle objective. On the high ground, my archers and deathjacks are trying to hold. The ranger is screening out my grenade launchers. Very, very good play here, but we are just going all out on the middle, ladies and gentlemen. We were literally like 3 or 4 seconds from having enough to win on 2 objectives, but we need to get this right now. Demogryph Knights are going to be moving in. These guys, of course, will have some decent capture weight. They hammer down these archers, and my spearmen state troopers are moving up. The spearmen, of course, will have very, very good capture weight and will be relatively tough to remove. Teclis is on death's bed. I was up in value by about 2,000 at this point, so I did have the value lead on the battlefield, and you're seeing it starting to be reflected in the 4th quarter, but you can still win on objectives. It's still a variable. I know some people don't think it's like important at all, but it really is. The objectives do add up. When you're versus an evenly matched opponent and it's a close game, it matters a lot. Now, guys, 1453 to 1400, high ground objectives, a little bit dicey. Should be able to hold it with some free company militia coming in. Spearmen moving up on the objective. Demogryph Knights holding on like absolute chads. Side objective, though, is in a little bit of dangerous. He does get some spearmen, but I have swordsmen and some free company or silver bullets coming over here. Maybe going to be able to get the capture weight we need. He's at 1470 right now, guys. I'm so close to capturing it. You can see the capture weight's going up. I parked some Empire Knights on the objective, trying to get it as quickly as I possibly can. The Demogryph Knights do get terror routed, though, off the objective, which might be enough to kind of get it for him here. Side objective is coming into the Elves' favor. I have my Empire Knights there. But ladies and gentlemen, it looks like I'm just barely not able to get it. It's just so close to being captured, but the terror route on the Demogryphs actually got them off the objective, so the terror route ends up winning the game for the High Elves. 1488 to 1499. I lost by 6 points. And if those Demogryph Knights hadn't been terror routed off the objective, we capture that and we for sure win the game. What a crazy, crazy close one. Oh my god, and we got to see some beautiful High Elf play. I know a lot of people, including myself, like to make fun of them. I just personally make fun of them a lot because I don't like them aesthetically, and I don't really care for their characters. But, I mean, I think High Elves in the hands of good players have some teeth for sure. Now, I still think they're going to be on the lower end of factions. Empire is obviously not like a super strong faction, so it's not like, oh my god, High Elves are surprising. It's not like they beat like Warriors of Chaos or something like that. But I do think that High Elves can do a lot more than people give them credit for. Teclis is amazing with his nets. We saw the Arcane Phoenix do great work. Dragon Princes were awesome, 2,000 value. Bolt Thrower, 1,500 on one of those. And looking at the sister value as well, 3,902! Oh my god, they needed to die much earlier. Sunmaker with a whopping 4,000. Wagons, huge value, 2,200, 1,200. Wagons are amazing. So both sides really had stuff that did well, right? Overall, I was ahead on value at the end. I had like a 2,500 value lead, and that's how we were able to get the momentum back, but I just couldn't get to the objectives quick enough, and that was all she wrote. So GG, well played. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. That was honestly one of the best games we've had in a while, and we'll be back with more goodness very, very soon.